Lil Durk, one of Chicago's most influential rappers and a central figure in the drill movement, has just been handed down his final sentence. And the news is grim. He's officially been sentenced to 10 years in prison after not only facing a mountain of allegations and evidence from years of legal troubles, but also reportedly being caught up in mischievous and dangerous activities even while incarcerated. And this shocking development has left fans devastated, critics buzzing, and the entire hip-hop industry questioning what this means for his future and for the legacy of OTF. Now let's break this all the way down, because this isn't just another rapper facing time. This is a culmination of a story that has been building for over a decade, filled with triumphs, betrayals, courtroom drama, and the harsh reality of what happens when the streets collide with fame. Durk Derek Banks, better known in the world as Lil Durk, has always lived a life that walked the razor's edge between music and the streets. His rise was meteoric, but so were the dangers and demons he carried with him. For years, Durk managed to balance the chaos of street affiliations with the glitz of mainstream success, building a loyal fan base and cementing his place as one of the top artists of his generation. But as with many who come from environments where survival is taught before success, the past never fully goes away. It lingers, it hunts, and eventually it catches up. That's exactly what happened here. This 10-year sentence isn't just about what prosecutors presented in the courtroom. It's about everything that came with being Lil Durk, the weight of his reputation, the shadow of his crew, and the spotlight that magnifies every move an artist makes once they hit superstardom. Please do not forget to like this video, share and subscribe to this channel if you want more updates like this. Thank you. Now, let's get back into the video. The allegations against Durk have been numerous and complex. Over the years, he's been linked to violent crimes, weapons charges, and gang-related accusations. Some of these cases faded away due to lack of evidence. Others dragged on, and some resurfaced at the worst possible times. But what tipped the scales in this sentencing was not just the past. It was his behavior while awaiting trial and during his time behind bars. Reports began surfacing that Durk was not only making questionable decisions in jail, but actively engaging in the kind of mischief that painted him as unrepentant in the eyes of the law. Rumors of contraband, coded communications, and altercations behind prison walls made it harder and harder for his legal team to defend him as someone deserving leniency. Judges don't just look at past crimes. They look at patterns, and in Durk's case, the pattern painted him as someone still deeply entangled in the same world that first put him on the radar of authorities. The sentence itself, 10 years, may sound like a devastating blow, but it's also a reflection of the balance the justice system tries to strike between punishment and possibility. For Durk, this is a decade stripped away at the height of his career. He was headlining tours, releasing chart-topping albums, collaborated with the biggest names in music, and building his empire through OTF. Now, all of that is put on pause, and the industry is left scrambling to figure out how to adapt to his absence. Record labels hate uncertainty, and nothing screams uncertainty like a decade-long prison sentence. While unreleased music can sustain his brand for a while, the truth is that hip-hop moves fast, and new stars rise every year. The longer Durk is gone, the more difficult it becomes to maintain his throne in a world that never stops evolving. For fans, this is a gut punch. Lil Durk wasn't just another rapper. He was a voice of the trenches, a man whose lyrics captured both the pain and the pride of those who grew up in the same conditions he did. His authenticity was never in question, and that's why people gravitated to him so fiercely. To hear that he's officially sentenced to 10 years feels like a betrayal to some and a tragedy to others. Social media has exploded with reactions, some fans pledging loyalty no matter what, others expressing heartbreak that yet another promising artist is lost to the system, and critics saying this was inevitable given the life he continued to live even as fame offered him a way out. The polarization is real, but so is the grief that echoes across his community of supporters. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was said to be tense and emotional. Family members and close associates sat in stunned silence as the judge read out the decision. Durk himself, usually composed even under pressure, reportedly looked shaken but defiant, as if fully aware of the weight of what was happening, but unwilling to give anyone the satisfaction of seeing him break. That's always been Durk. Quietly intense, determined to project strength no matter how heavy the circumstances. His lawyers, on the other hand, expressed disappointment but not surprise. They knew the tide had turned against them once reports of his jailhouse mischief surfaced, making it nearly impossible to argue for mercy. When the system sees you not as someone who made mistakes, but as someone who continues to invite trouble, their patience runs out quickly. The implications of this sentence stretch far beyond Durk himself. OTF, his crew and brand, is directly impacted. They lose their leader, their figurehead, the one whose name carried them from local notoriety to national recognition. Without Durk steering the ship, the younger artists under OTF face the challenge of keeping momentum alive in an industry that thrives on cosigns and star power. It's not impossible, they're talented and ambitious, but without Durk, the dynamic shifts. Rivals will see this as weakness, industry insiders will see it as instability, and fans will see it as a fracture in the unity they once admired. But this story isn't just about music or business. It's about the ongoing tragedy of what happens when the streets and fame collide. Durk is far from the first rapper to face a lengthy sentence at the peak of his career, and unfortunately, he won't be the last. The cycle keeps repeating. Artists rise from the toughest conditions. They bring their world with them into the spotlight, and when that world eventually clashes with the law, the results are devastating. It raises uncomfortable questions about whether it's possible to truly escape the streets once they defined you, or whether success only amplifies the risks that were always there. For Durk, the answer seems painfully clear. Despite all his accomplishments, the pull his past and the choices he made kept dragging him back into the system's grip. Still, it would be wrong to view this as the end of Lil Durk. 10 years is a long time, yes, but hip-hop history is full of artists who found ways to remain relevant even while incarcerated. Letters from jail, phone call recordings, unreleased tracks, and loyal fans can sustain his name through the years. And if he serves less than the full sentence, depending on good behavior and parole opportunities, Durk could still have time to rebuild, re-emerge, and reclaim some of what he's lost. But the question is, will he come back as the same man? Prison changes people, sometimes breaking them, sometimes reshaping them into something stronger. The Durk who eventually walks free won't be the same one we see now, and the world he returns to won't be the same either.